And we are back. I'm excited because I feel like did we miss a week? I think we may have missed a week. I've been traveling a lot actually. Uh, Part of it is exploring creativity. Part of it is business. A part of it is a combination of all these things. And I'm trying to embrace it and figure out where is this going to take me in regards to my creative journey. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunities, but I still try to maintain some balance and normalcy and kind of expectations, especially my responsibility to us in this creative space. And I want to stay true to that. But as always, we're going to start off with an exercise in mindfulness. And if this is the first time you've ever heard my voice or been a part of this experience, we spend the next 10 seconds focusing on your breath, eyes closed preferably, and just being present in the moment starting now. And now that we're here, I usually give you like a brain teaser, a puzzle. And this is the one for today. It says, poor people have it, rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? And I'll say it again. Poor people have it, rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? Uh, Today I woke up trying to think through possible things we can discuss. And one thing that kept kind of playing in my head yesterday while I was in class. One of my students, really bright individual. I remember at the start of this semester, she came in and she had an idea that she was so passionate about, and I teach capstone, so this is the culmination of all their entire collegiate experience, and what they've learned culminates into a singular project. So for a lot of them, this is uh, their there's a Latin term for it that it's not come to me. Magnum opus, that is the word I'm thinking of. And they've been thinking about this for a long time, and they've had all these ideas and all these creative thoughts, and now it's supposed to come together. And then when you finally get the opportunity to do it, everything that you've ever thought about, every idea you've ever had, all comes at once in a rush. It's almost like an avalanche of ideas. And what do you do as a creative when that happens? When you have all these ideas, but yet you have nothing. And as I was sitting, what I did, I had some one-on-ones with my class yesterday. And as I was sitting talking to her, for a second, as I'm listening to her talk, listening to her ideas, I realized that I saw myself, but it wasn't just me. I think I saw a lot of us creative, maybe all of us as creatives. What do we do um, when there's an overflow of ideas, an avalanche of ideas, and they all seem pertinent and relevant to what you're trying to create, but it is so much and all at the same time that it feels convoluted, it feels overwhelming, and it almost feels like you can't even start. because you don't know where to start. And the one thing that kept playing in my head as I'm listening to her talk, it was this idea of like organization. There's no organization here. It's like you're not short of ideas. You're short of organization of those ideas. So, and I know this so well because how my mind works is a lot of the times, if there's a problem that I need to solve, I generally ask myself the problem right before going to bed, because I know knowledge comes to me in the morning. And when it comes in a wave, a tsunami of sorts. And in that wave lies the answers, as well as a lot extra. And what I would do would, I generally keep a notepad and a pencil, I prefer pencil, next to me. And in the morning time when it comes, I would just jot down the ideas as they come. I would jot them down. I've later moved on to using my phone and the notes app in my phone to jot down these ideas. But what it did was, one, it allowed me to get the ideas out of my head and put them on paper. Because one of my greatest fears is that I would lose these ideas and they would never come back to me. And I know a lot of creatives who go through this, the process of just avalanche of ideas, then forcing themselves to actually try to write down the ideas. But usually that's where it stops, right? Because creativity is not an idea capturing exercise. At some point, the idea has to manifest into something real. It has to go from idea to action. And that's a challenge for a lot of us creatives. And one of the things that I've learned over time is every idea or every inspiration doesn't necessarily require action. And for a lot of us, because we believe in the value in our own creativity, and we've seen the impact that it has, I think we believe that every idea we have, every inspiration we have, that we should act upon it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying there's a time and a place for each. Because a lot of times we tend to lose sight of what it is that we're actually trying to solve for, because we focus less on the problem and more on the fact that there's excess ideas. There's a number of ideas that you can potentially explore. And if we don't organize those ideas, we get lost in them. And it can seem overwhelming for anyone, not even just those living in their creativity, for anybody, right? It's like, and I saw this in the middle of talking to her, where she created a collage of, and it was a visual representation of what was going on in her mind. And it was all over the place, all relevant, but all over the place. And we were able to kind of leverage or utilize this house analogy. And I remember asking her, "Where's the front door?" And then she scrolled all the way to the bottom of this collage of ideas, and it's like, it's here. And my immediate response is, why do I have to start at the bottom, like all the way at the bottom, all the way at the bottom, where natural progression, especially when you look at a collage, you stop. It is top down. That's how you read. That's how you consume content generally. Why for me to enter the front door, I have to go bottom up. And then it had her thinking for a second. And then I said, okay, this is the front door. What do I, as I enter, what is the first thing I see? And it was almost like I walked into the bathroom and there was no organization of thought. I knew I was entering a house because it looked like a house from the outside. But when I opened the door, I walked directly into a bathroom. And as I'm in the bathroom, I turn to my right and there's a stove there. And then I turn to my left and there's a nightlight there. Almost like a nightstand, a lamp on top of a nightstand. And then in front of me there's a television. And as I'm explaining this to her, I see her mind going, and I'm asking her, why am I, pardon my French, taking a shit while I'm cooking in bed? That is what's happening in your head. That is what it feels like when I look at all these ideas and you allow yourself to just take on ideas without any organization. And I remember telling her, let's walk back outside. Where am I? I'm in front of your house. Okay, cool. Are you going to take me inside? Yes, let's go inside. When I open the door, what am I looking at? What should I be looking at? How do you welcome me inside your home? And she says, a living room. Okay, what is supposed to be in that living room? And she gave me those ideas. And then she started to take bits and pieces of this collage that existed in front of us. And she started to kind of do this organization in her head as she was able to call out, oh, that's what's supposed to be here. And then I asked her, where do you want to ultimately take me? And she said, to the kitchen. And I said, why? Because she said, in that room, most of what I'm trying to convey happens there. And I said, okay, well, let's focus on getting the kitchen or building the kitchen and let that be the focal point of everything else that comes after. And for the rest of class, she focused on just the kitchen, not the bathroom, not the bedroom, not the garage, not the attic, just the kitchen. And I think for us creatives, that's something that we should all focus on. Organization of ideas, organization of thoughts. And realize that one, sometimes we do need to lean on our ability to compartmentalize and separate ideas based on themes, based on categories, relationships. Because if we don't do that, we end up in a situation where there's almost this dichotomic relationship between the ideas that we put together to solve a problem, or to create, or to be creative. And unless we step back and look at it, we won't know. And then we keep hitting roadblocks because we're trying to build these things based on amazing ideas, but the ideas aren't supposed to be together. They are not bad ideas. The ideas aren't wrong. And for a lot of them, they're relevant. But it's just a mismatch. And it'll be counterproductive because on their own, they each have the ability to solve for what you're trying to solve for. They each are viable potential solutions, but they're almost like antithesis of each other. And I think until we start to organize those thoughts and those ideas in our creative process, only then we can, come to that conscious realization that we're actually working against ourselves during this creative process. And it doesn't necessarily help what we're ultimately trying to solve. But how do you go about, I mean, it's easier said than done, right? How do you decide what ideas to keep, where to put them, and how to properly utilize them in time? And I think for everybody it's different, right? I think one of our gifts as creative is our ability to make connections and establish correlations between things that might not necessarily fit together, but our creative brain allows us to kind of make it work. And that itself can be a gift and a curse, right? It's like, yes, this round ball is not supposed to fit in this square hole, but all you did was introduce a challenge to allow my creativity to solve. And that is happening while I'm generating ideas. So every idea seems like they go together when in reality they don't. But it's important that we do, and important that we decide. One, I hate to use the word be realistic, because a part of creativity is stepping outside the realm of what is real, what is normal, what is proven, and kind of lean into the unknown and these outlandish thoughts. So I think a huge part of it is, one, understanding expectations and effort, setting milestones and time frames, and starting to categorize those ideas, right? It's like, and then now that I have that, it's always about, what are you ultimately trying to achieve? What are you ultimately trying to build? Who are you building it for? Why are you building it? And you always have to go back to that. Like, what is your mission? What is the vision? What are you trying to accomplish here? What are you ultimately trying to create? And let that be the guide, or the mechanism that you use to measure the relevance of the ideas that start to come in the midst of you creating and in this creative process. I don't want to I think even after you get to the point, I was finding myself, even after you get to the point where there is organization of thought, organization of ideas. I think there's a trial and error. There's an ideation process that you go through as a creative where you later find out that the things you put in certain boxes after experimentation, they don't necessarily fit there. There was a time when you wouldn't find a TV in a bathroom, but ultimately now in a lot of bathrooms, TVs are in there. There was a time when a fireplace wasn't in a bathroom either, but there's homes now built with fireplaces. So I'm saying that to say that ideas, ideas aren't limited to a specific problem. There's no limits to creativity. An organization of your ideas is not an attempt to limit your creativity. I think understanding the challenge before you, understanding your why, and realizing that there has to be progression in the process. And the more you take on new ideas that are not pertinent or they are not helping you to get closer to a solution, are ultimately counterproductive. And we live in a world where there are deadlines, there are time frames, and we have to be able to deliver, especially with expectations. So in cases like that, I encourage you to organize those thoughts, organize those ideas. Allow yourself to iterate through them, refine them, and find the ones that are pertinent so you don't get lost in your own ideas and lose sight of what it is that you are here to create and why you are creating it. I don't want to, as always, I don't want to extend this further than it should be. I will end how we started. The question was, poor people have it, rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? The answer is nothing. As always, it is a pleasure. I look forward to these conversations, and I'm looking forward to the next. Till we meet again, go be great.